and welcome back to another episode of Funny Shapes. If you don't know me, I'm your host, Lottie, and on today's episode, we're going to talk about the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So, we have a few things to talk about. It was a very fun race, which usually happens in Baku because Baku is a very, very cool circuit and they always want to kiss the walls. So, yeah, let's get into it. So, Media Day, actually before Media Day, I think maybe a week before, they were even in Azerbaijan. They were promoting the Grand Prix, of course. They always have the little like posters of all the drivers and the teams. Um, so yeah, they had a poster of Logan hanging up. Um, yeah, it was funny to see, but poor Logan must be crying in the shower every single day. Okay? Because, oh god, I don't know if they printed it out before Logan got fired or if they just didn't care. They were like, we have this ready. Let's just print it like this. And well, that's life, you know? I don't know what happened, but it was so funny. Then, in the beginning of the weekend, we had McLaren clarifying the papaya rules. We have discovered what the papaya rules are, or at least a little bit of it. So, McLaren said that in 50-50 situations, they would be favoriting Lando. Which makes sense since he is the runner-up for the World Championship right now. Okay? Makes sense on paper of them saying, oh, we're going to favorite him. Are they actually? Who knows? Who knows? Because last week in Monza, actually 2 weeks ago, but yeah, they didn't even switch him from P3 to P2. So I don't really know if they're actually going to do it, but they clarified that the papaya rules would favorite Lando in 50-50 situations. Okay? To be honest, I don't know if Lando will get to close the gap to Max, like actually close it, because they're 60 points away right now. And I don't know if it will happen. To be honest, unless Lando starts winning pretty much every single weekend and Max keeps finishing P6, P7, P5, I think that's possible. If not, maybe next year. Maybe next year. But I do think that McLaren can win the Constructors' Championship. They just got in front of Red Bull this weekend, which hasn't happened since 2014, which is a big step for them. And I can say that McLaren has been doing such an amazing job. They've made such a step up from the past few seasons. And I am actually proud of them because I do like them as a team, but they make so many mistakes. It's insane. So many mistakes. But yeah, then during the practices, we had some crashes. We had Charles crashing on Friday. We had Ollie crashing, and we had Franco crashing. So a few crashes, but all of them did amazing during the race, and even in qualifying, which we'll get to just now. So I was excited for quality because Charles is always great in Baku, and I was like, okay, let's get the pole for the 4th year in a row. I was so excited, but I was like, Checo is really, really good in Baku, and every time we get to Baku, he just brings something out of him. And I was getting scared, but Q1 starts. We're like, okay, let's go. Let's start putting laps in. Let's see who gets knocked out. Probably like the same ones that always do. So Lando got knocked out in Q1 for the first time since last year. And I was shocked. It was not in my predictions for quality day that Lando would get knocked out in Q1. I was really not happy. I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, Max kept going. He was driving at risk for a little bit, but then he put on a lap and made it through. And I was like, oh God, there goes the championship. Goodbye. But then Max didn't do that well. But yeah, it was a very, very, very surprising thing that Lando got knocked out. But yeah, on the other hand, the Williams were so fast compared to like them being a Williams. They were really fast. And I was like, what is happening? Did they drink Red Bull before getting in the car? Did they shower the car in Red Bull? Don't know. Don't know. But it was really weird, and they were very, very fast. Then, during Q2, Ollie was doing such an amazing job, and he almost made it through to Q3. It was like so close. And Alonso came, put on a lap, and knocked him out. And he was supposed to start P11, but then he started P10. But yeah, then we get to Q3, and I was like, please move it. Please put on laps and finish this as quick as possible, because I had class at 2 p.m. Quali started at 1 p.m., and I was like, okay, quali usually is like an hour, so I need you to hurry up. I need you to not crash, because I have class. It was on Zoom, but it was my first class, and I wanted to pay attention to the class and not be like, oh my God, someone crashed. So I was like, okay, let's get on to this. And out of nowhere, Alex comes out of the pits with the airbox fan still in the car, which is something really, really serious. And I think someone might have been on trouble for that, because that's really serious. He had like a giant piece in the car still. He had the dry ice still in the car, which is insane. But he pulled out to the side and they could get it out. So everything went back to normal. They were putting on all of the laps, and I was like, oh God, I was so scared that Checo would come through and put on a fire lap and get pole, but he didn't, and Charles put on such an amazing lap and got pole for the 4th consecutive time in Baku. Like, he is the king of quality Baku. We're just waiting for the win, which didn't happen this year again, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But I was so happy, because seeing Charles win or get pole, it's one of my favorite things in the world, because his smile is the best thing in the world, and I love him when he's like happy, and I'm so proud of him. So I was really happy. It was a great Saturday. No one crashed, which is good. But yeah, then we got to race day. So before the race started, we got the information that Lewis and Ocon would start from the pit lane because they had to replace some power unit parts. So yeah, the drivers moved on one place up. So Ollie started in P10, which is very good. Yeah, with that, race starts, lights go out. Charles did such an amazing start. It was perfect. He got away. He was like just doing amazing. Oscar also did a good start, stayed in second, kept Checo behind because Checo overtook Carlos right at the beginning. And they were keeping that little trio going on. And then Oscar did an awesome move on Charles and overtook him. And they spent 30 laps basically kissing each other. They were so close. Charles kept trying to make the move, but it wasn't like enough to make the actual move. And then by the last like 5 laps, Charles's tires just quit living, and they were like, bye. And he got P2, and Oscar got his second win in F1, which I'm really happy for him, because I am an Oscar fan. But at the same time, I am a Charles fan. So I was like, mixed emotions, to be honest. But I was happy for Oscar, and he did an amazing job. And I'm saying this, and I'm not ashamed to say this. This was his first deserved win. Because in Hungary, we know what happened, and I don't think his first win should have been like that. I think his first race win should have been like this one, where he fought for so long and he was trying to defend so hard, and then he got the win. I think this is how his first win should have been. And he was just so calm, cool, and collected, like he always is. And he's like, yes. Most stressful afternoon of my life. And I was like, dude, you just won a race. But that's just Oscar. He's so calm. And it's like, sometimes it's annoying, to be honest, because he's like, he has emotions, and he said that before. But he sounds so calm. And it's so annoying sometimes. But yeah, he almost fell out of the car when he was trying to stand on the car, but he was fine. I was sad for Charles, even though he got P2, he got some good points, but his smile wasn't the same as it was in Monza. And seeing him with that little kind of sad puppy face breaks my heart, I'm not gonna lie. But he's had pole in Baku for 4 years now, and he still hasn't won in Baku, which is so sad to see. But I hope next year will be it, and he'll finally win the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. But yeah, then moving on to the rookies. Rookies did such an amazing job. Ollie started P10, Franco started P8, I believe. But they did such an amazing job. They were fighting. Ollie was fighting with Lando, with Lewis, same as Franco, and it was amazing. And then Lewis, on the post-race interview, he didn't even know Franco's name, and he was like, oh, the kid in the Williams, I don't know his name. That was really funny to me. But they did such an amazing job, and I'm sorry, but I talked shit, and not talked shit, but I was doubting the choice of putting Franco in Logan's place, because taking someone with not very much of experience and putting someone with less experience, I was like, this might not work. But so far, he's doing amazing. He scored points yesterday. He finished P12 in Monza in his first race. It's like he's doing what he needs to do, because he doesn't have like a Red Bull under him. But he's doing what he needs to do to at least score some points, or try to score some points. But yeah, I'm happy with what he's doing right now, and I hope he can keep it up. So maybe he will get a seat soon in F1. So yeah. But then we get to the penultimate lap. And that's when I wanted to punch a hole in my wall. And I was almost losing my shit. Because at this point, Charles's tires were already gone. Okay? They were gone. And he was like, okay, P2, just trying to not get Checo get to him. But him and Oscar were just vibing in the front. And then Checo was losing his pace. And Carlos, being the amazing driver that he is, even though he says that his driving style doesn't suit Baku, he overtook Checo, which is a normal thing to do, because it's racing, Makes sense, Like, if you hear this, you're like, oh, he overtook him. Makes sense. It's a racing sport. What does Checo do? He's like, no. So he ruined both his race and Carlos's race, because people are like, oh, maybe it can be considered as a racing incident. In my opinion, no. The only way this can be considered a racing incident is if Checo hadn't seen Carlos, but he did. They were side by side. They were really, really close, but they were not touching. They were side by side, and Carlos was really, really close. But Carlos's car only moves when Checo touches his tire. And you can see that from the overview, like the top camera, the drone camera. You can see that Carlos's car only like turns and gets in front of Checo's after Checo touches him. So Checo has an ego that is insane. When he was the one who made the mistake, he calls him an idiot. He starts raging on the radio like it wasn't his fault. He gets out of the car, kind of knocks Carlos's head. You can see it in the onboard camera, which is extremely rude when it was his fault. And it's not the first time this has happened. Mexican Grand Prix last year. He wanted to be a hero and win his home race, and he ruined not only his race, but Charles's race. It's insane. This dude hasn't showed up basically the whole season. He hasn't finished in front of Max the whole season. The one day that he can do that he was in front of Max, he could have finished with more points than Max. What does he do? He ruins not only his race, but someone else's race. Just because he didn't want to finish fourth. He was like, no, I'm going to get back to third place. Like, why couldn't you be happy with P4 when your teammate was P6? Actually, P7 at the time, I think. Why couldn't you be just, okay, it's good points for the team. No, I'm going to ruin not only my race, but the other driver's race just because I don't want to be in fourth. Doesn't make sense to me. I actually don't know how this dude still has a seat in F1. I don't like him, never did, for multiple reasons, but these are one of them. Last year in Mexico, I remember being so mad, and I was screaming like a crazy woman because I was like, this dude is insane. He's like, he has an ego that it's insane. Like, he has the ego that Max has. Max doesn't even do half the shit as he does. Max sometimes, when he's like full power driver, he can be a little rude. But this dude can be more rude than him while driving when he hasn't done shit this whole entire season. He hasn't won a single race. He, the majority of the times, doesn't even finish in the podium. And he's acting like he's a number one driver that has to finish in the podium. I swear, I hate him. I don't care. I just can't with him. I can't wait for the day that I see the post from F1 saying, breaking, Checo announces retirement, or Checo is fired by Red Bull. Because if I was Red Bull, bye-bye, never come back. But yeah, I was really, 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 really mad. And I was screaming because I was so sad for Carlos. He was doing such a good race when, like, in a track that he says that it doesn't suit his driving style, he was just holding up, doing an amazing job. And then the other dude comes and ruins his race. But yeah, it wasn't a fun way to end the race because I was so mad. And yeah, but I was happy for Oscar. A little bit, as I said, I finished this race with mixed emotions. I was so happy for Oscar and for Lando because Lando did such an amazing race. He started P15 and ended up P4 or P5, I think. I think P4 because since Checo and Carlos crashed, yeah, P4. He finished P4, starting P15, which is such an amazing result. Again, happy for Oscar because he did an amazing race. Then a little bit sad for Charles, and then raging at Checo for what he did. So yeah, it was a very mixed emotions race, but it was such a fun race to watch. There was like action going on during the whole race. And yeah, I missed these kind of races that there's something to watch. There's not just one driver in the front, like 20 seconds ahead. So yeah, I love these kind of races. And next up, we have Singapore, which is such a fun track. And last year brought us such an amazing race. So I hope it brings us an amazing race as well this year. And yeah, I can't wait to see what Singapore brings us. And then I think we have a little break after Singapore. I think it's like a month break. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna check it out. So yeah, we have like almost a month break between Singapore and Austin. So Singapore, the race is on the 22nd of September, and the Austin Grand Prix, the United States, whatever. The Austin Grand Prix starts on the 18th of October. So, a little bit of a break, which again, not that fun, but yeah, I will see you for the next episode. Bye.